Hey family, Eve here. So family, today I'm going to create another video on DNA. I did a video yesterday or a few days ago, yesterday, about DNA. And I did kind of like a breakdown of what DNA is and how it's really life. But before I get started, family, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So let's get started. So again, like I said, today I'm going to do a video on DNA again. But this time I'm going to show you what DNA really is symbolic for, or what DNA stands for. So I watched some of Tyler Perry's movies, and you know how he's always joking in his movies. So I heard him say in one of the movies, he said, he was telling somebody that they can be tested, talking about DNA. He said DNA. Then he said Dinah, you know, DNA. So really, that is what DNA stands for, Dinah. So let me read to you DNA. DNA is the complex molecule holding the genetic instructions of an organism, development, function, growth, and reproduction, meaning life. All of that stuff that flows through you, that allows you to reproduce, life. That's what DNA is. That's why when he said you can be tested, they can tell by testing you, your saliva, your blood. That's why they don't do hair strand tests and all of that no more. They actually go in your mouth and swab it, because that's your DNA. Yeah. So Dinah, the reason I said DNA does stand for Dinah, because it does, meaning life. And I'm going to explain to you guys later when I say life and how Dinah is connected to life. Okay? So Dinah means, from the Hebrew, her name meaning judgment, vindicated, judged, or justified. So many of you had no idea that Jacob, our forefather, who became Israel, he had a daughter. And yeah, he had a daughter, because throughout time, all we ever talked about was his 12 sons, the 12 tribes of Israel, or the sons of Israel. Never talked about his daughter. Fact is that Jacob, Israel, he had a daughter by his first wife, Leah. And they named her, they called her Dinah. Genesis 30:21 says, and afterwards she bare a daughter and called her name Dinah. Genesis 46:15 says, these be the sons of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob in Aram with his daughter Dinah. All the souls of his sons and his daughters were 30 and 3. Dinah's life. So Dinah, Jacob's daughter, Israel daughter, Dinah, life. God showed us throughout time that Dinah's life would be symbolic for what the daughters of Israel would go throughout from generation to generation, the things that they would experience, or the things that would happen to them throughout time. So let me show you. It says the primary account of Dinah in the Bible is found in Genesis 34, chapter 34, 1 through 31, which details how she was raped by Shechem, an Egyptian prince, a Hivite. He abducted and raped her afterward and wanted permission to marry her. However, the response from his brothers, Levi and Simeon, wasn't so pleasant towards the men of Shechem in retaliation. So I would like for you guys to go into the book of Genesis, chapter 34, and read 1 through 31, and you guys can become familiar with the actual full story of what happened to Dinah in the Bible, Jacob's daughter. And like I said, it's a representation of us and what we would go throughout time. Because it was the reason the brothers didn't take too kindly to Shechem for what he did to their sister was because it was commanded by God that his chosen people should not marry with other nations of any other people, only their own, the other children of Israel. So that is why God was so disappointed, and why the brothers were so disappointed and retaliated the way they did towards the men of Shechem. Number one, they raped his sister. Number two, he wanted to marry her after he raped her. He didn't get permission before he did it, before he laid with her. He did it because that's how bad he wanted her. So this is what God said in the book of Deuteronomy for his people and who his people are. This is how you know who God's people are. Deuteronomy 7:6-8 says, "For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor choose you because you were more in number than any people, for ye were the fewest of all people." 8 said, "But because the Lord loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, hath the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt." So God said he chose us. He didn't choose us because we were greater in number. He chose us because we were the fewest people. We were the fewest of all people. And the oath that he promised our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who became Israel. So he chose us because of the love he had for them. So that was his commandment. He told us who we were, and now he commanded us. He gave us a set of laws that he handed down to Moses when he brought us out of Egypt that we should keep because of being his chosen people. And Deuteronomy chapter 7, 1-3 or 1-4 says, "When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest, and possess it, and had cast out all the many nations before thee, the Hivites, the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou." See, you heard him, he mentioned Hivites. Hivites was what? The prince, the Egyptian prince who raped Dinah. He was a Hivite. And those are the nations that God said he was going to cast out away from us. Yeah, he said he was going to cast them out so that we can dwell on the lands in peace without them. And it says, 3:2 says, "And the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, and shall smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them." You see, he telling us, make no covenants with them. Don't have mercy on them, because he didn't choose them. He chose us, and he didn't want us to have nothing to do with them, because it's obvious that they were evil because of the rape that he had done to our foremother, Dinah. 3 says, "Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughters thou shalt not give unto his sons, and his daughters shalt thou thou shalt not take unto thy sons. For they will turn away thy sons from following me, and they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be against you, and destroy thee utterly." See, he told us don't make marriages with them. So when he raped Dinah, he wanted to marry her, but God had told. That's why her brothers, were so disappointed and so upset, and they retaliated because God had told them not to make marriages with these people. And he took her, he raped her first, and then offered to marry, then asked could he marry her. He knew it was no chance of him marrying her, because he knew that the children of Israel had a different set of laws from them. So he did it and thought maybe that would allow Jacob or Israel to allow her to marry him. But no, the brothers were so disappointed, so they retaliated because they knew it was no chance. So, like I said, read Genesis chapter 34 and you get the full story. Deuteronomy 7:11 says, "Thou shalt therefore keep the commandments and the statutes and the judgments which I command thee this day to do them." That's God commanding us to keep those laws. And look what he says. He said, Deuteronomy 7:12 says, "Wherefore it shall come to pass, if ye hearken to the judgments and keep and do them, that the Lord thy God shall keep unto the covenant and the mercy which he swore unto thy fathers." Remember, he made a promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that he would take care of us, that he would keep us, that he would bless us because of the love that he had for them. I read that to you in Deuteronomy 7:6-8. So let me show you how, through mixing marriages with these people, it created bastards, or we became bastards, or bastards was created through mixed DNA. Dinah mixing with other nations, or Dinah's daughters mixing with other nations, DNA became bastards. So look, it says Dinah or DNA made or created bastards. Bastards refer to an illegitimate child, not of pure blood, not genuine, fake, counterfeit, spurious, sham, wedlock, phony, hybrid, impure, inferior, or son of a bitch. The Bible defines a bastard as an offspring of a forbidden union, such as incest or adultery. 2, those born from relationships prohibited by law. 3, those who are not chosen by God or have a relationship with God. So all of those fits us dealing with them. First of all, us marrying them was forbidden. It's a forbidden union. And us having children by them, that's a bastard. Because number 1 says a child or offspring of a forbidden union. 2, the relationship prohibited by law. See, according to the law that God handed down to us not to make marriages to them, it was forbidden. So sleeping with them, forbidden. So see that? Yeah. And 3, those who are not chosen by God or have a relationship with God. See, God didn't choose them, he chose us. So they're bastards. Our children became bastards with these bastards. So a mixed percentage. The term bastard was used to denote a child of mixed social status with a noble or ignoble blood. Anything or anyone that was not genuine, pure, or of standard quality. So noble or ignoble. Noble means quality. Ignoble means not. So during this time, no man during this time contains 100% pure blood, 100% pure DNA of a single ethnicity. For generations, men have moved or migrated from one place to another. Migration led to make a mixing of DNA, creating bastards. This is what God says about a bastard and how his children's DNA became mixed. Deuteronomy 23:2-4 says, a bastard shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord. Even to his 10th generation shall he not enter the congregation of the Lord. An Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of the Lord. Even to their 10th generation shall they not enter into the congregation of the Lord forever. The 10th generation is 1,000 years. Yeah. And we know Satan ruled for 1,000 years. So that was during the last 1,000 years. Because 4 says, because they met you not with bread and water in the way when you came forth out of Egypt, and because they hired against thee Balaam, the son of Beor of Pithor of Mesopotamia, to curse thee. So they hired witches and warlocks to curse the children of Israel as God brought them out of Egypt. And God said they did not meet the children of Israel with bread and water, meaning to see about them on their way out. So that's why those bastards would never be able to enter his congregation. They would never be blessed of God. Dinah, DNA, becoming a bastard. When the children of Israel went into captivity, the migration, us moving, moved into captivity or being placed into bondage is migration or moving. It says, when the children of Israel went into captivity or slavery, it is truly how they became bastards. The women of Israel were raped by their captors, and the children they bore by these captors were bastards, mixed DNA. And I told you what bastards are. This also cut the children of Israel off from being a nation, that the name of Israel should no longer be in remembrance. And I say that because as we moved into captivity, or we migrated from place to place, being sold into slavery, our DNA became mixed. So our name was no longer in remembrance, meaning we didn't know who we were. Our people don't know who they are. The children of Israel don't know that they are the children of Israel. And let me show you how that happened by reading to you the book of Psalms, chapter 83, verses 1 through 8. And it says, keep not silence, keep thou silent, keep not thy silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult. A tumult is a trap. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacle of Edom, and Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gobal, and Amorites, and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. I can break down and tell you each one of those people and who they are. And I have done that on one of my other videos that you guys should go and see. And it's the book of Psalms 83, 1 through 8. And it talks about Israel. It talks about these people and their system. So let's look at what God said about how the children of Israel could continue in life, or how they can be restored back to life. 1 Timothy 2 through 15 says, notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing if she continue, or they continue in faith and charity and holiness and sobriety. And that shows you how. When I tell you in my videos, I always go back to the beginning to show you what has happened throughout time, what's happening now, and what's coming. And it always goes back to Adam and Eve's transgression, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and how at the same time, when they ate of that tree in the garden, the tree of life was also in the garden, meaning it always goes back to Jesus. When Adam brought about death, God sent his son Jesus to redeem us, to give us life for the death that Adam brought upon us. So, like I said, it always goes back to Jesus and his descendant, a descendant of Dinah. Jesus is a descendant of Dinah, a child of Israel, tribe of Judah. The tribe that went into captivity here in America. And let me show you how you know that. Revelations 11 and 8 says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. America has been known as Sodom because of its wickedness, and Egypt because of our slavery here during this time, the last 400 years in this place in America. And I say Jesus is a descendant of Dinah because she's a child of Jacob who became Israel. And Jesus was born under the tribe of Judah, Jacob's fourth son. So family, with that being said, I just wanted you guys to know Dinah, judgment. Her name means judgment. And at this time, these last days, the last 400 years of our captivity is up. And guess what? The nations who took Dinah's daughters into captivity are getting ready to be judged. So family, with that being said, I thank you guys for watching my video, and I'll see you on the next one.